Hey, welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about really understanding how search supports the growth and the visibility of your firm, whether that's wealth management or law or maybe a different type of vertical, different type of niche. I want to kind of debunk a little bit of some of the preconceived notions that might be out there about search and what it should do for your business, and really the role that it should play in your marketing. And I want to also show you kind of what can happen when you do it the right way, and when you kind of follow these steps intuitively, what you should do to nudge users a little bit further through excuse me, through your pipeline. So today's video probably won't be all that long. I just want to cover kind of the four basic concepts that search visibility can ultimately lead to. Now, you may have different kind of efforts or different elements that kind of appeal to each of these categories, each of these kind of steps in the user journey. So what that means is your content on your website focuses on generating awareness, generating interest, generating trust, and then ultimately leading to that partnership, which will lead to revenue. The awareness phase. This is oftentimes sort of top of funnel, as some people might refer to it. I sometimes refer to it as orbit content. This is somebody who is trying to gather information about what you do, the general practice areas. Hey, I'm at this stage of whatever journey. What should I do next? So for law firms and wealth management firms specifically, this is super important. Now, it probably is going to be a bit of a shout from actually generating revenue for you, but it helps create trust and visibility down, as you move kind of further and further down the pipeline, because people are going to start their search now with AI. They're going to start their search by typing in something that basically is what's called a zero-click term, zero-click keyword. And that generates awareness. It helps you get visibility for the things that people are curious about and interested, in based on like your industry. A good example of this would be, I got hit by a car. What should I do? Or I got hit by somebody on a bike and it broke my arm. Or I got bit by my neighbor's dog. Or I just inherited $1 million, or something along those lines. That's hey, it's experiential. It's something that is maybe specific to me. Here's the information. Here's the details. What should I do next? That's this concept of GEO that you see right here, generative experience. That's going to be important for people to kind of gain visibility into, like, hey, this is my problem. What's the solution? AEO is what's called answer engine optimization. And answer engine optimization is really specific when people are typing in things like, I inherited $1 million. How much of that will go to taxes? Or who's the number one law firm in my area for dog bites, or something along those lines. There's going to be a direct answer, and there's going to be, you're going to need to create content that appeals to that direct answer. This is also super important. It's not necessarily going to drive directly to revenue, but unless it's that best law firm type of keyword, but it is going to be important for the user to understand and to, create some visibility, gain some visibility into kind of what you can do to help them out as they kind of begin that navigation. Now, one caveat to this, and I might even add this, as a next step down the line here, would also be like, this can, if you can get traffic to your site from something along these lines, you can also opens the door to retargeting. So you can also retarget, some different businesses for some different people that come to the website, for these different search terms. You can retarget them with, an advertisement or something along those lines. In addition to awareness, SEO does play a big role here, because search engine optimization is virtually the same concept as answer engine optimization and generative experience optimization. Oftentimes, what you're going to do to inform search engine optimization is a decent amount of keyword research to understand what are the kind of entities, the big fat head keywords that are going to open the door for me to be found at each one of these different phases of the, kind of the user journey, the user cycle. So SEO does still play a role here at search engine optimization, because somebody still might click through to a blog article and read that whole article. So that does, again, continue to play a role even at the awareness phase. But that opens the door to getting found, which could potentially open the door to retargeting. But more or less, we're trying to create that awareness that should eventually drive into interest. So the difference between awareness and interest is I might not necessarily be ready to contact a law firm or ready to even take that next step to contact a law firm until I have a decent amount of information, anecdotal and specific. Once I have that information and I've sort of made decisions that I am going to take those next steps, that's where interest kind of comes into play. And I want you to think about interest in terms of things that are not top of funnel or orbit content, but more kind of middle funnel. And what that ultimately looks like is how much money can I win from a dog bite lawsuit, or what are the smartest ways to invest wealth as I'm accumulating wealth in this industry, or something along those lines that's a little bit more interest, like, hey, I definitely need help here and I'm definitely interested in finding some help here. Now I'm going to be a little bit more specific, taking some notes on who shows up, go to different websites, maybe fill out some web forms, things along those lines. That's where this kind of interest category starts to come into play. It's not just a general awareness about what I should do or need to do. It's actually interest in taking those next steps. And so we look for specific keywords and specific opportunities for those next step type searches a couple of different ways. They're typically going to have a little bit lower search volume, but definitely have like interest signifiers or modifiers kind of built into the keyword. And those would be things that we would look for, semantically. A great way to find these opportunities is by looking at some of your competitors who are already doing what you want to do, getting a little bit more kind of recon on who the top players are in your space, in your location. If you're more of a national or global type of business and you're not so much reliant on location, then take a look at some of the top keywords and the top competitors that show up for those keywords, and kind of dissect, what type of content they get a lot of traffic from, and then what type of content they're most likely getting traffic that converts into engagement from. That's a great way to kind of harvest the keywords that you ultimately want to go after in this kind of interest phase. And those will, when we talk about modifiers, think about things like industry specific, think about things like, accident specific, investment specific, hey, what should I do if my 401k reaches this level? Those are some specifics that might show a little bit more like orientation around interest as opposed to just general awareness. So these are the two areas that oftentimes get sort of assigned the expectation of revenue generation. And so it's important to understand that these lay the foundation for your business, but these are not the terms, and these are not typically the ROI pages that you're going to see a tremendous amount of attribution to from your marketing investment, from the revenue that you're generating. So keeping aware that, like, hey, getting this foundation laid will open the door to this trust segment is super important. This is oftentimes why companies fire their SEO agencies. This is why companies don't invest long term in SEO. They don't see the value in kind of laying this foundation. This is the electricity and plumbing and heating system of your business. This allows your not business, but of your marketing strategy, of your website strategy. If you have a website that just has a single landing page, you're not checking any of these boxes. If you have a website that maybe has 150 blogs, but nothing else that builds trust and nurtures somebody towards partnership, then all you have is the foundation, and it's time to build out sort of this phase right here. If you just have these trust pages and maybe have 20 pages of content on your website, well, then Google won't look at your website as having authority and having, like more broad value and industry rich value. So these trust pages are not going to get assigned any credibility. So in order to do SEO the right way, and again, AIO, AEO, GEO, whatever these AI optimization terms are, you really have to have all of these different pages built out in a very clean way. So awareness and interest will drive towards trust. And what trust is right here, this is going to establish, hey, not only are you aware of what you need, not only are you interested in working with a company like our company, now I'm going to build trust and show you that we are the company that you should work with. And sometimes that has to do with local SEO, meaning like, hey, I'm right down the road. I'm an attorney in your city. I'm, a wealth planner, 20 minutes away or 10 minutes away from you. Authority SEO is another one of those super important terms. And so that's going to be the type of keywords that you rank for that are, again, a little bit more like recognized. If somebody, if somebody's talking to you and they're like, hey, I potentially want to work with you, and then they go Google search like wealth management companies near me, and you don't show up in the first 50 pages or 5 pages, well, that might kind of diminish your authority, diminish the trust that they have in you a little bit. So establishing that authority SEO and actually going after the terms that matter the most for you, even if you're not spot number one, going after those to try to generate some visibility for those terms is super crucial. And then the big one here are having case study and testimonials, not only as separate pages, but also built into maybe the bottom of those trust building pages, those industry pages, the conversion pages. Those different signals, again, will establish that trust. And building trust and getting calls from CRO, or what's referred to as conversion rate optimization, what's referred to as CRO, that is going to help actually turn that search traffic into revenue. That's the link there between awareness traffic and actual like lead generation and clients contacting you from your search efforts. This trust phase is so crucial, but having those pages built the right way and making sure that they have the right conversion rate optimization baked into them, that's what will turn this search visibility into actual revenue for you. And then down here at the very bottom, you're seeing partnerships. So direct contact and vetting, and then revenue. So once somebody is aware of you, is interested in working with you, and now trusts you, that's when they're going to reach out and they're going to seek that partnership. So this is a quick roadmap on how to turn search visibility into actual revenue. A lot of companies, they're like, hey, we did a bunch of blogs and it didn't work for us, so we stopped. Okay, well, let's take a look at the keywords that you went for after there. Hey, we did a bunch of blogs and they're more around like interested parties. Okay, but you don't have any awareness, so, additional foundational topical footprint, and you don't have any trust pages, which will actually nurture somebody from interest to trust. Or maybe you do, but, because you don't have this awareness phase, you're only getting a small amount of interest and trust from the website. If you have one of these links missing, ultimately it can diminish the opportunity of turning all of this into revenue. Now, I want to show you an example real quick before we end the video of a company that's potentially doing this the right way. And I didn't do this ahead of time, so I'm just going to kind of do it off the fly. But we're going to go and we're going to type in personal injury attorney, and then we'll use like Chicago. So pretty big market. Let's take a look at who shows up at the very top of this search term. So you've got Coogan and Power and then Malman Law. So we're going to take a look at these two. Let's take a look at these 3. So at face value, the site itself looks very good. Right there, you got a trust signal, experienced trial lawyers. You scroll down a little bit, Chicago personal attorneys, cases we handle. It's got an overview of all the different things that they handle, our case results. So they're establishing trust and credibility again. View more results. They have a page here specifically to case results. Continue reading. If we scroll down here toward the bottom, my guess is they're going to have an engagement or a call to action. I mean, look how many case studies they have. I'm scrolling, millions. Contact our skilled Chicago attorney today. Let's say this medical malpractice. Okay, this was just a pop-up. So I think this is actually an opportunity for them, because if it says continue reading and I click on it, each one of these pop-ups should potentially have, hey, contact us today or something along those lines. So I think that's an opportunity for them. Let's take a look at their specific site metrics. So one important takeaway here is that they only have a 19 domain rating, which is super, super important to kind of consider. Their authority is not tremendous. It's not, through the roof, but they're still showing up on page 1 for that kind of that big keyword that Chicago personal injury attorney in Chicago. So they don't have an exponential amount of authority across their site. They're getting about 1,100 hits per month. And you can see that they are on this upswing right here. So if we take a look at their top pages, they have about 71 pages live. Personal injury premise liability, Spanish page, personal injury public transportation, personal injury. They have a blog right here. Is your doctor a pill pusher? Staff profiles, which establishes, again, kind of personal credibility, which is good. Personal injury, medical malpractice. There's a blog right there. Staff profiles, personal injury, medical malpractice again. Blog, a little bit outdated there. And then they have a couple of pages here that are oriented around like different people on their staff. So the big page that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting is their homepage, and it looks like they've spent the majority of their effort trying to optimize for their homepage, which is good. But this does not establish, most likely is not going to establish any sort of like awareness and like interest visibility. This is going directly for that like transactional type term, which again is perfectly fine if you rank for that term. So that's good to see that they're showing up for that. It says that they're a position 2 for it. All right, so Malman Law. Let's take a look at Malman Law. So this does not say experience. It says Chicago personal injury attorney, or injury lawyer, and then they've got a call to action right here. But then right here, they do have, again, a bunch of their case results. 750 plus million, Google over 3,000 Google reviews, 30 plus years, 95% success rate, no fees unless you win. And then if I go, actually, let's keep that popped up a little bit. They have locations established, a lot of different, types of accidents per location, practice areas, a lot of information there. But if we go and we look at their website, so they have about a 39 domain rating, which is obviously higher than what was this, Coogan and Power. And their traffic is exponentially higher. They have about 40 times the amount of traffic that other firm has. So 40,000 hits per month coming to the website. You can imagine how much opportunity they ultimately have to generate, visibility and generate cases from that. They have about 362 pages live on their site. So they have these transactional terms that are going to be more, more those bottom of the funnel type terms, these trust building, type pages, local SEO. You can see right here, it's motorcycle accident lawyer. And then if I go to this page specifically at the very top, it says Chicago. So if you're curious as to why I call this out as a local SEO page, it's because, again, this Chicago sits at the very top of the page. That identifies that this is a motorcycle accident attorney in that location. That's that trust signal that helps establish, okay, I'm in Chicago also. This would be a good page for me to click on, or a good company for me to connect with. Then you see the nursing home abuse, you see this Malman Law injury blog. Who causes more accidents, men or women? That would be an awareness type of search term. So that's going to show up here in the awareness, answer engine optimization. There's a direct answer for that. Who who causes more accidents, men or women? What's the answer to that? So if we go to that page, my guess is that's going to have a little bit more direct content, tons of interlinks, which I love to see. They got a chat widget right there, which is great. This call to action sticks with me. All of these different interlinks are going to point to other pages, so that'll pass the authority throughout the entire website. They got a good call to action here in the middle of the page, which is great. Crash by motor vehicle type, why men cause a higher number of accidents, so there's a direct answer right there. Why women face higher injury risks, and then some FAQs at the bottom. This specific page has been optimized very cleanly for AI search. It's got FAQs, which you love to see. It's got direct answers, which you want to see. It's got a good chunk of content, a medium amount of content. So it's doing a very good job with answer engine optimization. You can see that it was created within the last 3 months. So my guess would be that it was created specifically for AI search, which I love to see. What speed do airbags deploy? Here's another meet our team. When is rush hour in Chicago? This is an important one because it obviously identifies Chicago as the specific market. So this would probably toe the line between like awareness and interest. Can I sue Walmart for emotional distress? That one also probably toes the line between awareness and interest, because it's specifically the result of the question could lead to business for them, right? If the result of the question is yes, you can sue Walmart for emotional distress, okay, cool. Well, that directly gives me, the law practice, opportunity to work with this individual. What are the 3 stages of sepsis? Truck accident lawyer, again, more trust building and direct opportunity. Illinois car seat laws. That's another really, really important one, because if I'm searching for car seat laws, now maybe it's just, again, a parent who's like, hey, let me make sure my child is, let me make sure that my child is safe in the back, but I'm also following the laws that are required. But also, if I'm looking for specific laws for car seats, maybe there's a reason behind, why I have this content, live on my site. What is psychiatric malpractice? That's a perfect one, because again, if I don't know, if I'm interested in working with a law firm, but I don't know exactly if there was malpractice, this should potentially answer that question. And if I go to this blog right here, my guess is it's going to push me pretty directly towards contacting them. So again, what you can see right here is they want to talk to you. Written by Malman Law. So there's EEAT signals built into this, Stephen J. Malman. This takes me to the the page here that identifies him as an established, credible, source. So again, this site has been very well optimized. 40,000 hits per month. You can get 40,000 hits per month to your website by building a strategy like this. They have a good amount of authority, but ultimately they have a lot of content with a very clear structure of how they want to create awareness, interest, trust, and then hopefully turn that into revenue. So let's do one more. Chicago Personal Injury, Clifford Law Offices right here. Serious cases, exceptional results. So establishing we're serious and we're exceptional at generating the result that you want. If we take a look at the performance here, they have a 49 domain rating, which tells me that they are taking their SEO very seriously. Their organic traffic is still less than Malman. So they're getting about right around half the traffic that Malman is, a little bit more than half the traffic. They've seen some ebbs and flows over the course of the last 2-3 years. And if we go and we look at their top pages, we're going to see they do have a little bit less content live than Malman, but you can see a lot of these terms that they're showing up for are, again, truck accident, aviation accident, and incidents. I'm guessing this is a conversion page. This is an interest page. So they're trying to, oh no, it's not. I'm sorry. An analysis over 40 years of airplane crash data. So my guess would actually be, just in looking at this page very quickly, and keep in mind, I'm a consultant. I've been doing this a long time, but I don't hit a home run every single time. My guess would be that their keyword targeting is off. I don't know what this page would be relevant for. So if they want aviation accidents and incidents over the last 4 years, if they want to go after keywords that are related to that, then the title tag of this page is probably, the header one of this page is probably off a little bit, unless this is the header one, which we can test by just hovering over and right-clicking inspect. So this is the H2, which makes me believe that this top one is probably the H1. Let's see here. Yeah, H1. Yeah, so this is the H1 of the page right here, the aviation accidents and incidents. So the issue I have with this is if we go and we type in, aviation accidents and incidents, we type that in, I don't know exactly what they're trying to show up for here. FAA statements on aviation accidents and incidents, FAA report. I don't know if this is anywhere on the spectrum of like awareness, interest, and trust in relation to what they want to actually be picked up for. So I would look at that and I would say, okay, I'm guessing that some of their keyword targeting is slightly off. Now, if we look at this, where was that? Aviation accidents and incidents. This page does get 556 hits per month. Chicago aviation accident lawyers, I think what that keyword was. Yeah, it pushes to this blog page, which again, I wonder if they have an opportunity to do a little bit better by going after, it says they're at spot number 1. If they have a little bit of a better opportunity going after something a little bit more, I don't know, specific to like Chicago, if they could go after rank for more keywords and get a little bit more visibility. But I wouldn't mess with it if it's working, right? So I would probably just kind of leave that one alone for the time being. You see this TikTok settles massive class action suit, workplace discrimination, United Airlines flight 232 crash July. So this one's going to be, again, if we go to this page, it's just going to be a little bit more informational, I believe. This is probably the header one, but I could be wrong. Yeah, that's the H1 is this United Airlines flight crash. This is going to be a little bit more awareness oriented as opposed to like interest oriented, as we've talked about. And then let me see here. Yeah, I'm looking for more of that interest type content. Class action lawsuits, talc powder, aviation accidents, WP content, Richard's family statement. Yeah, so I do see them going after. It seems like they're going after a lot of keywords that are either in the awareness category or in that trust category. Now they have a lot of authority, so they're able to generate a lot of visibility for those trust terms. They're kind of missing that middle category of interest. So going after keywords that maybe open the door to a little bit more of that, bridge the gap between hey, I'm looking for general information that a law firm might be relevant for, and then the kind of big important keywords that are kind of directly there at the bottom. Now, again, because they're a law firm with a lot of authority, they're actually able to generate traffic and visibility for those big keywords kind of toward the bottom of the sales funnel anyways. So there is some opportunity if you have this amount of authority, but also generating a higher volume of content that kind of follows that system that we've talked about is what Malman and Malman is doing. And these guys are generating about twice the amount of traffic. They have a couple of pages that have thousands and thousands of hits per month. They're showing up consistently a little bit higher for those exact same terms. They're also going a little bit broader with not just Chicago, but also a few other, basically a few other locations. A lot of these do say Chicago, but as we looked at their website right here, they also have like Champaign, Illinois, and Rockford, Illinois. So anyways, long story short, back to the mind map here. This is going to be where the most recommendation is going to come from. If you don't have a tremendous amount of authority from link building, which is important, but is expensive. It's expensive to get a lot of links. So following this type of content strategy is going to allow you to create, kind of intelligent visibility at each of these different phases: awareness, interest, trust, and then all of that ultimately leading to partnership. So don't misunderstand the importance of awareness and interest. Those will lay the foundation. Those will create what's called topical depth for those big trust generated, keywords. And then obviously being able to create that content that is more like local SEO, authority SEO, case study and testimonial related, credibility, things along those lines. Meet the team type content that will establish that trust. All of that is just as important. So as you're building your SEO strategy out, your AEO strategy out, make sure that you try to check all these boxes. I would actually set aside, a strategy and a roadmap for each of these categories. Here's our awareness keywords that we think matter. Here's our interest. Here's our trust. And then make sure that you have the right conversion rate optimization built into the website to actually nurture all of that visibility towards an actual call to action. So if you need help with any of this, you can reach out to me at scott@eastmarketinggroup.com. I'll put the show notes ultimately in the YouTube video. But for the time being, thanks so much for staying in touch. And hopefully we'll get a chance to connect with you on the other side.